Good morning, all. Our today's topic for the class is Modern Theory of Management. The modern theory of management encompasses a range of concepts, principles, and practices that have evolved over time to guide organizations and their leaders in achieving their goals effectively and efficiently. This theory has its roots in the early 20th century and has been influenced by various schools of thoughts and management thinkers. The next slide deals with 14 principles of management. Henry Fayol was known as the father of modern management. He gave us the famous 14 principles of management. According to him, the five main functions of management are planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating, and controlling. As we all know that planning is a concept which helps us in knowing where we are and where we want to reach. Like it bridges the gap between our start and end. It is a universal phenomena which states that planning is always done in prior. Planning is a continuous process which shows that planning is dynamic in nature. If planning stops, this means that the growth of the organization will automatically stop. Now, the second function of management is organizing. Earlier, we have studied the planning. Now, organizing is the administrative operation of specific grouping tasks, duties, authorizing power, and designating resources needed to carry out a particular system. After organizing, there comes staffing. Staffing means Staffing means obtaining the best resources for the right job. A significant perspective of management is to make certain that the appropriate people with the apt skills are obtainable in the proper places and times to achieve the goals of the company. The next is directing. Directing involves directing, leading, and encouraging the employees to complete the tasks allocated to them. This entails building an environment that inspires employees to do their best. Motivation and leadership are two chief elements of direction. The next is controlling. Controlling is the management operation of controlling organizational achievements towards the accomplishment of organizational intention. The job of controlling comprises ascertaining criteria of performance, computing the current performance, comparing this with organized rules, and taking remedial action where any divergence is observed. Now, after studying the functions of management, we are now going to study 14 principles of management, which has been given by Henry Fayol. The first principle of management is division of work, which means that dividing the work into different individuals. Fayol recommended that work of all kinds must be divided and allocated as per competence, qualification, and experience of individuals. According to Fayol, division of work intends to produce more and better work for the same effort. Specialization is the most efficient way to use human effort. The second principles of management is authority and responsibility. According to this principle, there should be a proper balance between authority and responsibility. As we all know that authority is the duty which a subordinate is expected to perform. Authority and responsibility go hand in hand. Authority without responsibility leads to irresponsive behavior, while responsibility without authority will make a person ineffective. The third principle is discipline. Discipline refers to obedience to the rules and regulations of the organization. Discipline requires good supervisor at all levels of management. According to Fayol, good supervision at all levels, clear and fair rules, and a built in system of penalties will help to maintain discipline. It is a must for all levels of management. The fourth principle is unity of command. According to this principle, each subordinate should receive orders and be accountable to only the superior. No person can serve several masters at the same time. If an employee gets orders from two superiors at the same time, then the principle of unity of command is violated, and he will find it very difficult to decide who he has to obey first. So, to avoid confusion, employees should receive an order from one superior. The fifth principle is unity of direction. It implies that there should be one head and one person for proof of activities having the same objectives. According to this principle, all the activities should be carried under the direction of one head, and there should be effective coordination in all activities. This principle ensures unity of action and avoids unnecessary duplication of work. The sixth principle is individual subordination of individual interest to general interest. According to this principle, the interest of the organization as a whole must prevail over the interest of individual. It must be interest of the organization that should be placed above the interest of employees. It is the duty of the manager to reconcile them. If the reconciliation is impossible, then general interest must supersede individual interest. A manager must sacrifice his interest. Manager can achieve their objective when the organization recovers from financial crisis. The seventh principle is remuneration of employees. According to this principle, remuneration should be fair and satisfactory to both employees and the organization. This principle leads to harmonious relations in the organization. Fair remuneration should be determined based on government rules related to wages, financial position of the organization, nature of work, and cost of living. Employees should be paid reasonable wages for their service, which should provide them a moderate standard of living. The eighth principle is centralization and decentralization. Centralization refers to the centralization of authority at the top level, and decentralization means distribution at all levels of management. According to this principle, there should be a proper balance between centralization and decentralization. The degree of centralization and decentralization depends on various factors such as experience of employees, ability of subordinate, size of organization, etc. The ninth principle is scalar chain. According to this principle, there is a scalar chain of authority and communication that moves in straight line from the superior to the lowest subordinate. The 10th principle is order. According to this principle, there should be a proper place for everything and everyone. Henry Fayol emphasized on two types of order, material order and social order. In material order, there must be a plan for everything. It ensures fixed in a place for various material tools. Whereas in social order, there must be an appointed place for every employee, which ensures a proper and fixed place cabin for each employee. The 11th principle is equity. According to this principle, there should not be any discrimination amongst employees based on religion, caste, language, or nationality. Equity ensures coordinated relations between superiors and subordinates. It leads to the smooth and successful working of the enterprise. It improves satisfaction and motivation of employee, creating relation between manager and employees. The 12th principle is stability of personnel. According to this principle, there should be proper effort to achieve stability and continuity of employment. Fayol said that employees should be kept in their position for a reasonable time to show result. Stability creates a sense of belonging, and workers are encouraged to improve their quality of work. 13th principle is initiative. According to this principle, workers should encourage and should be given an opportunity to take initiative in making and executing the plan. Henry Fayol suggested that employees at all levels should be encouraged to take initiative in work. It motivates employees to work better and to take more interest in the organization. The last principle is esprit de corps. According to this principle, management should take reasonable steps to develop a sense of belongingness and a feeling of team spirit amongst employees. In order to achieve the best possible result, individual and group efforts need to be integrated. Now, now we studied the 14 principles of management which has been given by Henry Fayol. Now coming to the approaches which the modern theory of management has given. Uh, Most commonly, there are two approaches. The first one is system approach, and the second is contingency approach. So, system approach is based on the generalization that everything is interrelated and interdependent. A system is composed of related and dependent element which when is in interaction forms a unitary whole. A system is simply as assemblable or combination of things or parts forming a complex whole. Now, some of the features of system approach are: a system consists of interacting elements. It is a set of interrelated and interdependent parts arranged in a manner that produces a unified whole. An organizational system has a boundary that determines which parts are internal and which part are external. An organization is a dynamic system as it is responsive to its environment. It is vulnerable to change its environment. In the systems approach, attention is paid towards the overall effectiveness of the system rather than the effectiveness of the subsystem. Now, coming to the contingency approach. The contingency approach to management is relatively a new approach to management. It is an extension of system approach. The basic idea of contingency approach is that the organization has to come up with different situations in different ways. In order to be effective, the internal functioning of an organization must be consistent with the demands of the external environment.